Hey guys, JB here from Alpha Wolf Consulting, coming to you today with another episode of Understanding Thyself. And this episode's all about breaking down goal achievement. So understanding how to achieve any goal you want in life and the secrets to being able to manifest the results that you want in life. Okay, so to understand this is just to understand that to achieve anything in life, there are required things. So, for example, if I want to have muscles, I must take an activity which builds and grows my muscles. I cannot have muscles by having inaction. Okay, so we understand that, I have to physically exert my body to increase and build my body. I cannot, increase or build my body without physical exertion and physical activity. Like, it's impossible. Now, you could argue that I could go and get implants, I could use steroids, I could try and find a workout device that, using electrodes to stimulate the muscles. Do you sort of see? I can try and find the easy quick fixes to achieving it, or I can just do the required work. And that's sort of how we look at goal achievement in terms of a lot of us are looking for, when we talk about business, we want to set up a business. So we're looking for how do we do it without doing the work of talking to people and communicating and building our business. So that's an important thing, because AI at the moment in business is the easy solution, because most people are doing that instead of learning and developing on their own so that they can, develop the skills to be able to create and manipulate the environment, the business environment that they're in, to achieve success. They're looking to find an external factor that's going to give them success. Do you see? So an important thing to understand, and this is very relevant in business, because if you run or operate a business, you have been bombarded by low quality sales and marketeers telling you all the fantastic stories about how they can achieve every result you want, and all you have to do is pay them $5,000 a month, and you pay them and nothing happens, and you pay them and nothing happens, and you pay them and nothing happens, because all they're doing is what everyone else is doing in terms of just posting low quality ads and spamming them out there with inaction, and they're limiting the actions that they take to try and work the algorithms, because the algorithms don't like it if you post more than once every 3 to 4 hours. Most people think posting one post a day or one advertisement a day is enough. But the truth is, think about it like this. If you operate or own a pizza shop, you can make one pizza an hour, but you're not going to achieve your goals, in terms of financial costs and things like that, and financial targets, because the scale in which you need to sell is much larger. So, you know what I mean? So if we don't have the foot traffic coming in, we have to take activities to drive the foot traffic in, right? So the important thing is we could go out for 10 minutes and talk to 10 people on the street and be like, job done, I'll try this again tomorrow. But the realistic thing is, if we actually want to fill, our books, or we want to hit the quantity of, pizzas sold per day, or customers, or order sizes and things like that, we have to do far much more marketing to communicate to people and create relevancy where they're actually thinking about what you're selling. So to understand this in business is just to understand the shift in content creation. So for example, it's not that we're out there saying, hey, do you want a pizza? Do you want a pizza? Do you want a pizza? No, we're out there having conversations with people that are directed around pizza, because we have a bias towards pizza, that we want people thinking about pizza more hours of the day, so that the likelihood that they purchase, or when it comes to an eating decision, they're going to eat pizza. Do you sort of see how this is relevant in terms of business? Is when we think about marketing, when we think about, promoting and building a brand, it's not about going out there and telling people, hey, buy my product, buy my product, buy my product. It's about creating a conversation that is directed at people predominantly thinking about the problems or solutions or products or services that you offer, because the likelihood that if they're hearing about it a lot, they're going to act and make a decision to purchase, make a decision to use the product or service, like whatever it may be. So to understand this is just to understand that when we look at goal achievement, okay, we can look at having the results that we want, the customers, and thinking, oh, how can I just buy more customers? You know what I mean? Like, we can go out there and do the activity ourselves, or we can pay someone to do it for us, in terms of have them go out there and do the activity. But unless the activity is done, like, the customers won't come, because the customers are a result of the activity. Just like, for example, in weight loss. Like, weight loss is a result of physical activity. Now, diet plays a big part into the required physical activity to achieve weight loss, because, for example, depending on what we're looking at, if we're looking at weight loss or fat loss, like, okay, so weight loss is just weight loss. Fat loss is losing fat. So you think about it like this. Some people, as they lose weight, they don't really go down in terms of, like, no, not in terms of fat, but like, some people struggle with weight loss, and some people can lose weight really easy. And the reason for this comes primarily from diet and then physical activity. Because the thing is if you have a high carb, which is the primary energy source your body seeks in terms of nutrients, and then you've got a high fat diet, which is the secondary energy source, your body is going to see the primary and use that. So you now have to increase the physical output so that you're in a deficit to the carbs you eat, so your body has to start using fat reserves. So this is one of the things that people will start to realize when you get into anything like goal achievement, is there is required actions that have to be taken in terms of, if our diet goes against the goal, so we eat like a high fat, high carb diet, and high processed diet, what we have to do is, now I have to do 2 to 3 times the amount of work to get the same results that I would get with a normal diet. And then it's like, if I even go lower, so let's say we did a no carb diet, no carbs whatsoever, so our predominant fuel source for our body is animal fats, our fat. So we burn fat at a higher rate, but it's a more uncomfortable diet, because it's less efficient for our body to burn fat. That's why we feel like shit when we don't have, sugars and carbs. And that's a funny thing, because the sugars and carbs are the ideal, like, energy source, but if we don't restrict it, our body and our physical exertion isn't high enough, our body never has a chance to hit the fat stores. And that's why some people struggle with weight loss or fat loss, is because their diet, they're eating to meet the needs of their energy constraints or their energy requirements per day in their eating, so they're never using the reserve energy that's stored as fat. So to understand this is just to understand that there are certain required tasks or things that we have to do or be aware of in any goal achievement, okay? And if we're aware of them, then we see the path to the goal, and the goal is a result of us taking those actions. But if we try to confuse ourselves and try and say that, oh, it's because I don't eat sugar, like it's because I'm eating sugar, so I cut sugar out of my diet, but I still eat bread and I still eat animal fats. Like, I haven't really altered the diet. So it's got to be like I align myself completely to the goal that I have, or I'm semi-aligned, which means half of me is working towards the goal and half of me is working against myself in achieving the goal. Do you sort of see how that works? So we've just got to understand the resistance that you ever feel and why it feels hard to achieve anything you want in life is because we create these barriers of resistance and hold ourselves back because we're not committed. We're not 180% in, and we are sort of hedging against ourselves or trying to, dip our toes in, to speak. So to understand this is just to understand that, so I can focus all my attention, and this is what current, motivation and, goal achievement says. Focus on the goal, focus on the goal, focus on the goal. Identify the goal, visualize the goal. The goal, the result, is where all your happiness is. So until you reach that goal, you feel like shit. You feel like you're not good enough, not confident. So we've been trained to always see the goal, and the goal is what we measure success by, or the results. Whereas the true success is in the actions, because if we take the actions, we're guaranteed the results. Like, it doesn't matter. So to put this in perspective with, for example, content creation and YouTube, okay, and what I do with course development and building, okay, I create content not for the results that the content gets. I create it for the results I get while creating it, but the enjoyment. The success is in the action, not in the result. The result is just a measurement of the success of the action. So the action is where everything is. And do you sort of see? So if I want to lose weight, if I identify with the actions, the dieting and the exercise, and they become the part of me and I enjoy them, and I do them not to lose weight, but I do them because I enjoy eating healthy food. I enjoy, eating high protein. I enjoy exercising and walking. Like, you know what I mean? So I get fulfillment from doing the actions. So it doesn't matter what the results are. Do you sort of see? So this is the truth about achieving success in life, business, relationships, or anything like that, is that when I fall in love with the actions and the process of doing it, and that becomes my reward center, I get to determine whatever results I want in life, because now all I have to do is identify the actions that equal the results, and then identify myself with those actions. Those actions become a part of who I am. So for example, with content creation, like, I am someone who enjoys, sort of running the process of sharing information and knowledge that I've observed and gathered. So for me, the conversation of explaining the things I see in the world is what gives me joy. That is what makes me feel success. It doesn't matter if people watch it or not. But the result of me doing it again and again and again and again will equal, if the quality of the work is good, will equal massive results. Like, it doesn't matter if I get the results or not, because I know I'm guaranteed the results if I do the work, if the work becomes my life. So think about it like this in love. When you first start seeing someone, like when you first meet someone, If they were to spend all day, every day with you and need to be around you and be obsessed with you, that would be a bit concerning, right? You would think that there's something wrong with them. But when you're in love with someone, you are completely obsessed with them, focused on them. You wake up and you think about them. Do you know what I mean? And the reason for this, and this just comes down to focus and obsession. So when we become engaged and into something and we go all in to something, all of our focus is directed at it. We become to obsess about it because it becomes a part of our identity. So like when we fall in love, the person we're in love with becomes a part of us in terms of, an identification. This is my partner, my husband, my wife, like mine. It's me and them. We're together. It's one. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, when we're early dating or just meeting and talking, that connection, we've created all these artificial barriers that we have to overcome to commit 180%. And we do this through relationships. We do this through, and think about it, all the little tests, all the little required boxes that need to be ticked. Like the universe hasn't created that and said, you have to do this. This is the 10 commandments. Like you do it for yourself. So to the same in business, I have to achieve all these little milestones and results before I'm willing to believe that I'm successful in business. Like, do you see? So when we focus on the results, I have to create artificial constructs and barriers to overcome so that I can feel confident that I have the ability to do this. So think about any hobby that you've learned or any new position you've gone into. Let's say we did concreting and we've never done concreting before. Like, would you feel comfortable tomorrow going out and saying, I'm going to go and charge people, and tell them that I can do a driveway and just do it? Like, that's the thing. Like, if we're doing something completely new, it's natural that we want to understand key components to being able to feel confident that we're capable and competent in doing it. But the problem is when we start a business, like these artificial barriers and constructs, that we have to meet and all of this, like we can't successfully start a business without being 180% confident in our abilities to, fulfill the need, to fulfill the gap, to service the needs of the client in whatever shape that or form that is. So an important thing is like, if we're only focusing on the results, it's an impossible task to achieve success. Because I have to overcome all of these barriers and hurdles, feeling low, insecure, unconfident in myself. And that's the funny thing. So in life, to overcome this, if we focus on the actions, the action of lifting the weights, the action of talking to the customer, of, doing the work, doing the proposals, doing the presentations, like going out there and learning. Like if those activities become the holy grail, do you know what I mean? That's what obsession is. Obsession is just the link between action and outcome. Because you think about it, when I become obsessed with something, what has happened? Why was I not obsessed from day one? Because in day one, I'm still trying to understand. I'm still trying to overcome the different barriers that I've set up before I can feel confident to commit. Do you sort of understand? So it's a natural learning process that we go through where we have to be unconsciously unaware, where we just don't know anything, we've never done it before. Then we have to become consciously aware, or unconsciously aware, where I don't really understand what everything is, but I understand sort of the framework and the foundations of where to get the information from and sort of what I need to be looking at. And this is the developmental stage where we're sort of going out there and learning and building our structures and processes. And then we become consciously incompetent, where what happens is like, because I'm aware and I know how to do it, but it still takes a lot of directed focus and attention. So it's to the level where I understand the actions that I need to do to achieve the results, and now it's like I'm focused on trying to be the best at them. And then the last stage is consciously competent, or unconsciously competent. That's where basically you understand it intricately. This is when like mastery becomes a thing. So like, I don't have to think about the words I'm saying, I just have to think about the direction I want the conversation to go in, because I already know the words, because I've communicated so much. Do you know what I mean? Whereas when I was a kid, or if I'm trying to speak another language, I have to try and identify the words and the meaning of the words, like to each word. So when speaking another language, like I have to try and decipher what each of those words mean and then put them into English and then try and understand the meaning. So communication has all these extra barriers. And then once I become like competent at the conversation, like, and the language, so like take it like this: the first year or two of learning a new language, it's sort of hard to understand. If someone were to speak fast, I wouldn't understand them. If they spoke in complex dialect, I wouldn't understand them. I don't really understand grammar. I don't really understand punctuation yet. And then as it goes from 2 to 4 years, well, I start to become a bit more fluent. I understand the full dictionary. I understand the grammar. I understand, all the different inflections. But I have to be focused. So the easiest way to understand this is when we're kind of good or kind of fluent in a language, and then we go out drinking. Because drinking sort of makes that sort of processing and decision making, or not decision making, but that ability to process and link data, it sort of muddles it. So